Broken nose, bad. See, every time you see my glasses and they're crooked, it's because it's bad, and I broke my nose playing football.
Really?
Yeah, it was against the Akron.
Is that your number when you had that jersey? Where was
43?
That was your number?
That was my football number, yes. They asked me what number, I didn't, everybody like 1, 0. I was like, this is my football number, 43. Okay. So softball made that number for me. So.
Okay. Well, to get started, it was a big weekend last week at softball, hosting a regional, winning their first regional. Now they're off to the Supers. How exciting is that to see?
Oh, it was fantastic. Just more importantly, the girls deserve to host it, and to, I always say be the first, and I tell our student athletes to try to be the first, build that foundation, be the first. There's nothing like being the first, and they were the first to host a regional. They deserved it. They made it out of the regional. We're going to go to Oklahoma this weekend. They're already there. I'm going to go see them as well, and just thrilled to death for them. And the opportunity to play the #1 team in the country is what you dream of as a little girl or as a young athlete, to be in these type of moments and to play in big games. And man, they earned it. And it's really what a great accomplishment to Bear and the coaching staff. They were coach of the year, and just a lot of just great momentum we have in softball.
And softball is really a growing sport. The ratings they have for these games coming up are going to be big. How important is it to keep Coach Bear in Orlando and kind of keep improving that facility over there?
Well, it's interesting. You talk about ratings. I was shocked at how many people watch softball. My friends from around the country that aren't really, probably have never knew they were into softball, but I think because they knew that we have an affiliation with UCF, and people in California, New York, Michigan. I got texts from people all over the country, and they said, man, watch the game. They sent me pictures, saw people dancing, saw my wife on TV, and she was dancing with the alumni out there, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, so it's a growing sport. It's a powerhouse sport. We're going to do everything we can, just like we did last year. We extended Bear's contract last year. We bumped her, and we'll continue to look at that stuff. I've already had conversations, say we barely want to keep you, and we'll do the best we can to keep coaches and where we are in our budget. And we've got a lot of really talented coaches, and we're doing everything we can. And right now our priority is personnel and student athletes. Spending every extra dollar we have on our student athletes, and putting money into scholarships and COA and possible Alston money and all that kind of stuff is just our goal. And then personnel.
Speaking of facilities, the board of trustees asked the coaches with your football campus to go into the design phase. How important was that to kind of get that first step and make that football campus something that you're proposing out?
Well, it's really important because I think what you see in football campus may not what it ends up looking like. And remember, that was conceptual design, and we did that very quickly. A lot of it had to do with we were trying to show that we had a vision for the future. So when we were looking at conference affiliations, and we had a lot of people out there talking to us about what our vision was for the football program and athletics, that was some of the stuff that we did, and that was definitely something that we wanted the national media to know, and we got a lot of great press on it. Now, I've seen a game. I've been in the stadium. When we did those conceptual designs, NIL wasn't here, transfer portal is not here, and so I think you're going to see us pivot a little bit on what we're going to do. I think our focus is not going to be so much on the upper bowl. We'll have to create some premium areas, but one thing that I strongly believe in after being the first game and the last game is that our fans helped us willed to win. They willed us to win in a couple of those games, and that upper south end zone was a huge part of that. And to take and put a bunch of loge boxes in there now, even though we need the funding, I don't want to lose that atmosphere. We'll have to do some type of premium products to generate new revenues for the future of our program, because remember, we have to self-generate our revenues. So it's not, we don't get state dollars, allocated dollars. So we'll look at it. McNamara Cove is still a really, really important piece of the football campus. Player areas, a tower for recruiting, for revenue and all that kind of stuff. So that's this to give you a long answer longer. We're still still very excited about the project, but now it gives us a really look into programming the area, the football campus. And we still want a football campus. I think it's really cool.
Speaking about potential revenue, alcohol and beer sales were available at basketball this past year, softball, baseball. Is it possible that football might be stadium-wide?
Absolutely. We're looking at that, and we're making sure, we're dotting all our I's, crossing the T's, make sure we can handle it. It's not just a matter of opening it up, it's also make sure you handle it with the concession stands, and that we have the infrastructure ready to go. So yeah, we're evaluating that, and when the time comes, I'll talk to the president about it and get his thoughts, and I think we're definitely on the same page as right now as where we are. But so in the coming months, you might hear an announcement.
I know you've been very strong about NIL. I saw your interview with Jamie Say of WKMG. Yep. What did you kind of make of the recent soap opera with Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban, and kind of what did you think about all that?
Can you turn the cameras off? Yeah, I think it was, listen, I'm a former student athlete. This game has given me, if it wasn't for football, I don't think I'd be where I'm standing in front of you today with an education, a career. So it means a lot to me, and I know it does to those guys. And it's just, I thought that it probably could have been handled a little differently. I think there was a lot of miscommunication. What Coach Saban was trying to get at, talking to a group of alumni. I don't think he was trying to attack anybody, but I know a lot of guys that worked for both of them, so it was kind of interesting. And I just don't think there's any place that we really don't need to be doing that. And I'm sure the commissioner wasn't real happy about it. But listen, unfortunately, we are where we are right now. And I say unfortunately, not because of NIL, because I believe in it wholeheartedly. I don't like the way it's being applied. And I think a lot of people don't. Some people do like it because it gives them a competitive advantage to do it that way. I don't think it's best for our student athletes. I'm concerned about the future of our this space. I'm concerned about student athletes and what they believe is real after they graduate college. Especially the only 2% make the NFL pro sports in general. What was it going to look like? And I just heard a coach from a school that you guys are very familiar with, told me that they're paying every one of their scholarship athletes $150,000. And when they say the school is, I don't know how they're supposed to do that. So I'm pleading for the NCAA to step in. I haven't heard anything. I had the head of compliance for football in my office about a month ago. I said, please do everything you can to check this stuff out and let's apply it. We're gonna apply NLI the way that the Chip LaMarca intended it to be applied in the state of Florida. And there's a collective for the Knights, and that's being all done outside of us in the athletic department, but there's a lot of spirited donors that really want to help. But I think there needs to be some guardrails, and my old boss from my old school is on the board of governors. I've called him probably 4 or 5 times. He's the one that hires the next executive director of the NCAA, and I've expressed, and he knows that I have no problem expressing my feelings. I really hope that this can help. This new transformation committee that they're working on can help really put in place what NIL is supposed to be. And I've always been a proponent of NIL, and I believe in it. And I don't believe in paying high school kids just to pay them. I don't believe in paying kids to take visits. I believe in your opportunity to have a marketplace, and and I think that's not what's going on in college football. and we have a bunch of student athletes. We have over 160 deals right now that I know of in our athletes. You know, a lot of our student athletes have deals, and so I believe in it. But they're doing it because there's a marketplace for them. They earned it. They've done something. They've been productive. You know, because my concern is why I say I don't believe it, not because I don't think people deserve values, because what happens if you don't produce? If you've never come to college and you haven't produced on the playing surface, and then you get it taken away from you, what happens to that young person and to that family? That's what I'm concerned with. That's the guardrails I'm talking about, and I don't want to see anybody. And then that takes away from the purism of getting your education. We as practitioners should all be like, listen, education should be the foremost, most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, whether I would have got $20,000 or $50,000 as a student athlete, I know one thing for sure: my degree means more than anything, and I got my master's degree because of football. All because of education. So, I mean, all because of, I got my education all because of football. So, anyway, that's another long answer.
You were in Arizona recently with the Big 12. I know
Yeah.
everything's kind of pending with the entrance, but you know, the NCAA recent legislation, you don't have to have divisions. You can have a championship game without divisions. How do you think the Big 12 is feeling? Do you have a preference? And when you
Listen, I don't really have a preference. I like, if you're asking me, I'm gonna put my old CFP hat on, being on the selection committee. I think, to me, having no divisions is better for your conference. That's just me personally. If the Big 12 as a collective body before we get in decides that we'll support whatever, because I think it allows you to put your two best teams. And you know, I think the SEC, you know, they have divisions, and they don't always have their two best teams playing the SEC championship. Now they've got a good brand, so usually the winner will have a chance to play in the national championship. And I think when the other four teams come into the Big 12, you're going to want to match up your best teams. And I think there's a strong chance they lean that way. And I know they really supported that legislation.
And you had a non-conference scheduling crunch when you got here a year ago. Now that UCF is going to the Big 12, has that made it any easier? Or are you still facing some of the same struggles?
Well, the thing about it is the Big 12, you're required to play a Power 5, at least in your non-conference one, and you know we have a lot of work to do. And I've got one team down. I'm trying to get schedule that's south of here, way south, and we're trying to work on some of that. And it's just challenging. You know, coaches don't want to play, and you know, it's just so. Hopefully, we'll keep working on it. We're banging the phones, and then there's being an American, you have a different scheduling philosophy than if you're in the Big 12. So now we have. I work so hard we work so hard to work fast to get an American schedule for the next 2 or 3 years. Now that I'm going back, now we're going to be the Big 12, I don't really love what our non-conference schedule is going to look like in the next 5 years. Some years are better than the others, but you know, I really prefer not to play two Power 5s in the same year, and I have some of those years where we do. And so, you know, it's going to be the conference is going to be a tough conference, and you know, we don't need to overschedule.
What are your thoughts on the NCAA as a governing body, like moving forward? You know, there's there's speculation about, you know, Power 5 is breaking off from the NCAA, and just it feels like if you can't really enforce the NIL stuff and the rules, like people are questioning what's the point of the NCAA, but as a governing body trying to keep things under ropes.
Well, I think there's definitely a need for a governing body. There's no question in my mind. But you know, if there's no enforcement to a governing body rules, then there's no governing body, really. So I think, you know, that's the thing that I want to see is how we're applying or how we're enforcing some of the rules. And I think the biggest challenge we've had is enforcement and how inconsistent the enforcement has been. I think I'm hopeful that the next executive director, I'm hoping that there'll be a practitioner in our space, so they know how to navigate with the revenues, the campus, what's going on campus. And I think one of the criticisms you've heard is a lot of people that have been in the national office, they've never been on campuses before. And I think Mark Emmett and the NCAA heard that loud and clear and tried to make changes and try to bring more campus people on there. I definitely think there's a place. I definitely think that, you know, all of Division I does not look the same. You know, does UCF look like Whale or Baltimore? Probably not. You know, so I think there should probably be like-minded people. But you know, people are really excited about Division. I mean, you know, when you see St. Peter's beat Kentucky, that's part of the excitement, you know, of you know, college basketball. And so you know, we'll see what happens. And I'm definitely in favor of looking at a new structure. Looking at what our enforcement policies will end up and the consistency of that. It's very inconsistent right now. And you know, having practitioners that really understand our space.
Is there a chance the Bounce House is a new name this fall?
There's a real good chance. So we're working on it.
How, as far as you know, on the Black Gold Baron podcast talking about men's soccer on a high school, like how is the timetable working on soccer?
Men's soccer?
Yes.
Well, since I announced it on one of the pods that I probably should have, but we're going to be going in the Sun Belt for men's soccer once we resolve the conference, our exit to the American. And so men's soccer will be, the Big 12 doesn't have men's soccer, so we have to find a different conference, and it's going to be a really good, really strong conference. And I know Scott Calabrese, our head coach, is really excited about it.
Head coaches, TMS has now brought in some new members of the coaching staff, brought in some transfers. I don't know how much you've spoken with her, how she's been kind of getting settled in, but how would you say she's been settling in?
She's doing great. She's hired an unbelievable staff. She's hired an all-star staff. I would say, from an experience standpoint, her staff is as good as we have out there, and she has put the right pieces. And you know, when you're smart head coach, you're going to hire people that you know can help add value to your staff, where maybe you're not as you know, that you're not as proficient at, or whatever. Not that you're not strong at it. Maybe you have other people that might be a little better in certain areas, and I think that's what she's done. She's, you know, the way that she's brought people that really fill in to complement each other on their strengths, and yeah, we're really happy to have her, and really excited. Can't be more happy about our women's sports this year, man, and the trajectory of our women's sports.
Appreciate it.